What's going on, everyone? So, really wanted the Lakers to land Olivier-Maxence Prosper, and unfortunately, the Lakers did not get him. He is signing a two-way contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, which, if I'm being honest, actually a pretty good spot for him. They could use kind of somebody to fill in that three spot, kind of that two-way guy that not the contract wise, but 3-and-D kind of guy. If he can kind of develop into that 3-point shooter for them, get him cheap, give him some athleticism out on that perimeter. They really wanted Dorian Finney-Smith. Obviously, he doesn't have the experience and he's not as good as Dorian Finney-Smith right now, but it just gives him another young guy to kind of grow and develop under that team for that organization that could be really good for them for the foreseeable future. The fact that he signed a two-way contract with the Memphis Grizzlies is what's frustrating for me. Because I talked about this over more so on As It Stands Lakers. But I literally just uploaded a video on As It Stands Lakers. So I didn't want to I need time for them to marinate. So I was like, hey, let's talk about it here because I know people are going to want me to talk about it because I was so adamant about getting a Olivier-Maxence Prosper. Because again, he talking about 6'7", versatile, athletic wing with a 40.5-inch vertical, 7-foot wingspan, can slot in basically 2 through 4 for you, defend 1 through 4 for you. Yes, the 3-point shooting isn't really there. Definitely something that needs to be worked on, but he's the exact type of player and mold that I want to see the Lakers get. Like I talked about, though, it's not somebody that I thought would come in and change the Lakers' fate this season. I wanted him more as a development guy because the Lakers have talked very heavily about how they want to be an organization that grows and develops players, right? Prosper was a guy that is the ideal kind of player you want slaughtered alongside Luka long term. Made it very clear in those videos that hey, he's not a guy that I want necessarily to come in. I don't expect him to be a rotation player. Maybe play spot minutes here and there, but I'm not looking at him as our answer this season or even necessarily next. I'm looking at him as a young prospect that could be really good for the Lakers, that checks off a lot of the boxes that you need. And, we Lakers, Adu Theoro is such a big pickup. You know what this team could need or could use? More Adu Theoros long term, right? Kind of have that, talked about Luka, and then give me 3 hyper athletic, versatile, defensive 6'7" to 6'9" guys, and then DeAndre Ayton, and the Lakers are probably winning multiple championships, right? Obviously, those guys need to develop and knock down three ball, and you only need 1 or 2 of them to really work out, right? If a dude Theoro becomes the OG type, and then you go get a Prosper, and he becomes a defensive Jaden McDaniels type. Perfect, right? That's literally all you need from this Lakers team. Right? Now you're in great shape. Now you're competing year in and year out, and carving around. Especially if you're going to keep Austin Reeves. Especially if Austin Reeves is going to be your long-term 2 guard. You definitely need the athletes alongside Luka and Austin Reeves. How did the Dallas Mavericks, how did they get to the conference finals with Jalen Brunson and then get to the NBA finals with Kyrie Irving? Because they just had a bunch of athleticism alongside them. They had a bunch of athletes alongside them, right? So you had those playmakers, those shot creators, those guys that could score the basketball, but you also had, a bunch of athletes that could do the dirty work, make the hustle plays, kind of mask and hide Luka's ailments as well as Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving's on the defense side of things. Well, you add in, an Austin Reeves, you kind of need to follow the same mold. And that's where I thought Prosper could potentially long-term be an answer in that regard. Just give you a young, versatile wing. And I even talked about, even if he's not somebody that's your starter, even if he's just coming off the bench and he's your 7th guy off the bench, and it's hey, we can, our 7th guy is a 6'7" versatile wing that can shoot the 3 ball at a 36% clip and defend multiple positions. Perfect, right? Again, it's another guy you need. So I am disappointed that we ended up missing out on Prosper. Again, it's not something that I think the Lakers had to, kick the door in to go happen. I talked about sign him on the 2-way. Right? I was even okay with the Lakers kind of getting off of Chris Menon in order to sign him on a 2-way, and that way those other guys can kind of still, because you already have kind of the guard position locked up for the next few years. You kind of just need, I would prefer, if it's Menon or Prosper, I'd rather have Prosper because both guys have concerns offensively, and both guys are looked at as excellent defensive pieces. I'd rather go with the 6'7" guy that as a 40.5-inch vertical, 7-foot wingspan can play and defend multiple. I'd rather go with that guy and trust that that guy has the potential growth and upside. Plus, he also has at least NBA level experience to where, he could kind of play a role for this Lakers team. So, again, it's disappointing. I do think Memphis is a good spot for him. I do think that's one of the better spots. I understand why he chose Memphis, because I do think he will get some minutes in the two-way for Memphis and get some opportunities. The question is, how much opportunity and role would he have played for the Lakers? How much, would he have, would he have been able to actually get minutes? Because I think he has the potential to play more on Memphis than he does the Lakers, right? So I understand why he chose Memphis over the Lakers, assuming that the Lakers even offered. We don't know what the other teams were. The report said that he chose Memphis over several other options that several teams called about him, which I'd understand. Again, he's 6'7", athletic, versatile, two-way wing, right? That is 23 years old, young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft. I mean, the Lakers just got Arthur Kaluma, who I really like and I'm high on, but he's the same age, right? So it's like, there's probably half the league was probably calling about him and trying to land a Prosper. Were the Lakers one of those teams in the mix? Maybe the Lakers were just like, let him go somewhere else. We got Kaluma and these other guys we're trying to work on, which very well could have been the case. Lakers might have not even have had interest in Prosper. But I think that the Lakers should have. And, I think that I hope that the Lakers at least, extended that offer, extended that hand of like, hey, we'd love to bring you in on that two-way spot. It's possible maybe the Lakers were interested, but they were like, hey, we'll bring you to the camp. Right? Because that was something that I talked about too, was like, if Lakers just offer him a training camp invite, probably not going to come. Right? Because somebody will give him a two-way, at least a two-way, if not a main roster spot, which we just saw, right? Memphis just gave him a two-way. So I was very confident that he'd get a two-way from somebody. So I didn't think that the potential of him, I don't think if the Lakers offered a training camp invite, he was ever going to accept that, right? So to me, it was like if you sign him on a two-way, right, and then hopefully because of Luka, maybe you kind of have that nudge compared to other teams like Memphis. If Memphis is like, hey, we're offering you a two-way, and it's like, okay, we have my decisions on the two-ways, maybe, he would choose the Lakers because of Luka and that relationship. But again, we don't know. At least at the time of recording this video, maybe it comes out that the Lakers offered a two-way as well or something. Who knows? But I'm bummed, right? I am. He's a guy that I actually wanted, that I thought made a lot of sense for the Lakers. But it's not something that, again, it's not like he's the answer, Andrew Wiggins, who, right? He's just a guy that I really wanted to see the Lakers land for the long-term development, and a guy that could, be an answer, not this season, but, 2-3 seasons from now. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.